and welcome to the End in Mind podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, the owner of Meraki Media Management. The End in Mind is a place where we come to share stories, tips, and strategies of many entrepreneurs, creatives, business owners, and just some people that aren't willing to live the traditional lifestyle. We talk about how to live outside of the box today and how to incorporate what really is important in your life to keep that end goal always in mind. Again, if you would like to reach out to me in any type of way, you can find me on Instagram at Meraki_media_management. And I hope to hear from you all soon. Thanks so much and enjoy our show. What is up, party people? Welcome back to the End in Mind podcast. Super stoked to be here with you guys today. This is a topic that I'm really passionate about. This is something that the holistic space is talking about a lot. Like even today, I was looking at my clients' accounts, doing, some back end work, and I came across a few of their followers and people that we were reaching out actually talking about this topic, which is how to live with the unknown. Because in today's society, there's tons of reports coming out since post-pandemic, post-COVID, that a ton of Americans, a ton of people in the world are struggling with some serious anxiety issues. I know I felt it over COVID. I mean, there's moments where I look back where I don't even really know what happened, which is very normal for when you're going through grief. Like when I lost my dad, there were days where I felt like I wasn't even there. You know what I mean? Like functioning when you're at such a high level of stress, grief, anxiety, your body and your brain actually checks out. It's like almost going into shock. Like when you get hurt or something, it actually helps your body survive. It's a survival skill. With this living with the unknown, it was something that kept reoccurring for me, like in therapy when I would be going through like my deep dives with my self-talk, like where my fears were coming up. And I still have a lot of fears. Today I was actually on a networking call and I shared some of my fears with them. And, as your business grows and expands, it is so exciting. It's so rewarding. It's an amazing feeling because you worked so long to get there. But at the same time, it's really scary because you're bringing on new clients. You're managing a team. People are depending on you to pay for their mortgage at times. And it can become stressful very, very quickly, especially when you don't know what is coming next. And the reality of this is, which Lewis Howes says all the time on his podcast, none of us know anything into the future, right? It's almost like a fictional thing going on in our heads when we think that we know that we're going to be able to control our future. It's almost impossible. Of course you can plan, but we really don't know in the day-to-day what's going to happen. And a lot of it is out of our control. And this idea of living in the unknown can be really hard for a lot of us. Like I know for myself, it was very difficult when I started to really process it, and it came with a lot of self-awareness and therapy, and you start to really realize like, wow, I have control over what I'm doing, but I don't have control over what anyone else is doing. I have no control over the environment. I have no control over the pandemic. I have no control over, at times money, right? Because that's just true. We don't always know if that client's going to stay on with you for the next month, or if, people are going to leave your business. I mean, there's no guarantees in life at all. Even when you have a real job, like we saw this happen, real job. Oh my gosh, that's terrible to say. You guys know what I mean, like a corporate America job, because being an entrepreneur is 100% a real job. That was like a Freudian slip. But when you think about like being in corporate America and having maybe what people would call job security, and all of a sudden with the pandemic, we're seeing all of these layoffs. You know what I mean? Like all these people are losing their jobs and they're like, well, the only reason why I had this job was for job security, was for benefits, was for all of these things. And now I don't even have any of that bullshit anymore because they just dumped me on my ass and probably gave me nothing in return, especially at that time. What do I mean by all of this unknown? That's exactly it, is that we don't know what is happening next. And a lot of the times that can bring us a lot of anxiety, like especially as an entrepreneur when you're grinding every day and the clients aren't coming and you feel like you're doing everything you possibly can with the tools that you currently have and nothing's working in your favor. And I want to challenge you to think about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Now, I've been listening to a lot of coaches recently talk about this in a financial standpoint, and that is not what you guys come here to hear about. Like, I'm not going to tell you to take out a credit card of $10,000 and start hiring a coach to coach you. I'm sorry. I don't believe that that's ethical. Like, truthfully, you guys can choose to do whatever you want to do in your own business, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I'm certainly not going to tell you to do that. Especially because everyone is in a different financial situation and these things go around in the coaching world a lot. Like you'll get on a phone with a coach and they'll tell you, well, you should just take out a credit card to work with me. And they'll use all of these tactics to try and sell you. And what I want you guys to think about, and this is really what I believe the End in Mind is all about, is what is going to make you guys happy? Like, what's going to push you outside of a comfort zone in the way that you want to go? Because sometimes it's not hiring that coach. Sometimes it's putting your money towards ads. Sometimes it's putting your money towards a course that you can do yourself because you are going to be able to hold yourself accountable. Like, you guys come to my community to hear the non-traditional lifestyle. And the non-traditional lifestyle also includes the non-traditional lifestyle of starting a business. Like, you guys, I did not start this in a traditional way at all. I had a one-time experience that I was able to replicate out of, knowledge that I gained throughout my childhood. And at the time, I knew that I needed a coach to keep me on track because I found that throughout my day, like the anxiety would get to me so much to the point where I would feel like paralyzed, or it felt like I was just spinning my wheels and not making anything happen. And that's when it's important to hire a coach, but hire a coach that you can financially afford. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, push yourself to a comfort zone that maybe it's $1,000 out of the limit that you were thinking about, or $2,000 out of the limit that you maybe had budgeted for. But I don't want you guys to get yourselves in a hole when you are hiring a coach. Like, even when you are working with someone, for example, I'm working with a coach right now and he charges a really moderate amount, like for what he gives us in the coaching, and we have weekly calls and all this other crap. Like, he's amazing. He offers so much for that value. And that's the type of coaching that I want you guys to find, is someone that's going to work for the value that you can afford and also is in with that niche that you want to work on. Because if you just hire a business coach, sometimes they're not going to teach you how to do what you actually want to do. So hiring a coach actually is including a lot of research, like you guys need to know every little thing about this coach and what they're going to be coaching you on in order to know if it's worth hiring them. So for example, when I work with people on a consulting level, I am semi-business coaching them, but the main focus is Instagram to drive them leads for their business, right? Like, that is my niche. Of course, if you back out, you could say like, oh, well, that's a form of business coaching. It is, but it's also a form of Instagram coaching, So it's very... If I get on the phone with somebody and they're telling me that they aren't able to pay for their home and they need, a business coach that's going to teach them how to literally create all of their systems, like, I'm not that person. You know what I mean? Like, I have people in my network that are those people and they're fantastic and very well seasoned and well known in what they do, and they don't charge out their ass. You know what I mean? Like, the pricing is doable most of the time for people. And if not, then there's always a way that you can work towards that. Maybe you start driving at DoorDash. Maybe you start selling old clothes. Like that's a lot of things that I did when I first started Meraki. We didn't have money coming in. So I would go to my local thrift store at the time and sell like old clothes, or my grandma had a bunch of old antiques and I would like collect the ones that I didn't want anymore and I would go and resell them there. And a lot of that money kept my head afloat. Like you guys know my story. I have an investing background. So that is how I think about money. Like it's been ingrained in me since I was 15 years old that this is how you handle money. And a lot of people don't have that experience. Like that's why you guys would work with a coach to understand, okay, this is how I should be managing my budget. This is how much I need to budget each month. This is how much I need to, put into savings. Like there's so many different aspects to money. But really what I wanted to get back to this on is that when you are stepping into business, a lot of people are coming to you asking you for money, whether it's an Instagram coach, a business coach, Facebook ads, Instagram's telling you to boost your posts all the time, which costs money, right? Like you are being asked for money all of the time. And I want you to just be very aware of the unknown, even working with these coaches. Like there's always going to be a scenario that they haven't come about before, and you can start to ask these questions, right? And make sure that they are a good fit for you before you go all in with these coaches, because this unknown can bring so much anxiety that you can jump into things without having all of your research done, because you're simply just grasping for anyone to give you answers. And that's, again, like a human survival tactic. Like there's nothing wrong with the people that have done that. And, certain people that I've hired in the past maybe weren't the best fit for me. But that's why I'm here to tell you guys all of these stories. Like when you're living in this anxiety and worry and concern, there are people that are able to help you in your financial wherewithal that aren't going to put you out thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's what my Instagram coach and I talk about all the time. Just like really having him at a reasonable price for us as business owners to come and work with him so that we can learn how to, he works with a lot of agencies. So he's a perfect fit for me. Like you guys see what I'm saying with this unknown. So when you feel this overwhelm of anxiety, like for me, it will manifest in my body. Recently, I've been like feeling really tense in my shoulders, and I can tell like I need lymphatic drainage, like when I'm in the shower, I try to like rub my clavicle and like really push all of those lymphs, like move that static, gunk that it feels like is right under my skin. Like my muscles get really tense when I'm super anxious. And I'll tell you guys some background, like going into the holidays was insane with Meraki Media Management. There was so many shifts. Like we got back from vacation and, leaving and doing all of these things. And then clients are switching their packages. Clients are leaving us because it's the first quarter and they're trying to figure out who they want to bring in to the new year with, right? Like it's just a lot of stress. And then I've also had a shit ton of leads come in, which I'm so grateful for. But it's that other side of, can we handle these leads? Like my team has been adjusting over the past few months, and I need to make sure that I'm able to provide them with what I promised them, because I'm always operating in integrity. And if a client feels like I'm not producing at that level, that will hurt my anxiety even more. Like it's like a domino effect. So the more you start to tap into yourself, slow down throughout your day. Like in the middle of the night, last night, I was tossing and turning. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I just imagine this bubble around me of like serene yellow light, and I let myself drop back into my body. And I like to call it turning on like a faucet where I'm draining all of my tension. Like I call it my tension faucet. And I'll literally imagine like water like dripping off of my hands. and all of the tension releasing out of my body so that I can come back to this moment, like when I'm in bed, and actually go back to sleep. Like starting a business is very stressful. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it and tell you guys that it's like roses and butterflies. Nothing in life is roses and butterflies. Yes, there's a lot of really great, repercussions that come with starting a business that are positive repercussions, like a lot of things that you can do, the flexibility, the time, being your own boss, doing your own thing throughout the day, not feeling like you're micromanaged, like all of these things as business owners, that's a part of our personality. I don't know if you guys have watched this show, Hype House, recently, but I have got to talk about it on this podcast because you guys, like, honestly, if you have not watched this show, I seriously think that you should. And it's not because I'm all about like social media and all this other BS. I want you to watch the show to see how much it has affected these 20-year-old kids, like getting famous this quick. So basically, Hype House is this show about like these TikTokers that blew up overnight. They're all like in their age ranges, I want to say of like 18 to like 26 years old. And they've all like put up these TikToks and they blew up overnight. And they like end up moving to LA. They're all friends and they all live together. And in the show, like I won't ruin it for you guys, but I'm just going to tell you their emotional state from the beginning of the show to the end of the show is completely different. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like when you get on social media, there's also a sense of unknown. You know what I mean? Like when you're getting on for the first time as a business owner, you think you're gonna blow up, or like especially if you're trying to go viral and like you think that it's all gonna happen for you and it's all gonna come your way. Like this is I hear a lot of young people talk about this as being their dream, like just being a social media influencer. But the whole thing is that we are living in the unknown when we're thinking about that it's going to be like the greatest job ever and you're not going to have to work every day and like all this other stuff. But there's actually so much more stress on these kids because they have to hit those views. They have to get the content created. A lot of them are dealing with a lot of like mental health things of their past that they've been going through, and they don't have, like the time to deal with that, or they don't feel like they have the time to deal with that. They have the time. They have to make the time, right? But they don't feel like that. So they almost feel trapped, like in this situation. And that's what can happen with your business. So there's like a nice way to look at the unknown, as in before you're going into something, you're kind of naive and you really don't know what's up ahead. And there's a benefit to that, And then there's also the flip side of it when you're in it and it is the unknown and you've already made it. And like they talk about it on the show. He's literally like, well, what if I like lose all of this money? Because it's like when you get rich quick, you also know how fast you could lose everything, and there's a sense of that as being a business owner. It's not as intense, I would say, but the emotion is the exact same, like I've reached this certain mark in business. I've made these income goals, I've gotten here, and now what if I take a step back, or what if it doesn't continue to grow? Like it's these unknown questions that can creep in, which are a lot of limiting beliefs, like that connection of what if it doesn't work out, or what if I lose everything is a fear that's coming in, and it's really connected to your confidence. So again, that's more inner work. Like what I've been telling myself recently is we're only taking on the clients that are right for us and the clients that understand how our process works. So the clients that I love working with are these holistic practitioners because they tend to be just like me, very nurturing, very calm. I don't know if I could call myself calm. You guys can be the judge of that. But they tend to be very calm, and they have this like not super sense of urgency. Like when I would step into this masculine company that is coming from like a scarcity mindset and they have all of these different beliefs about business than me, it's never going to be a good fit, which is also the unknown. Like when you're first starting a business, you don't know that everyone has a different outlook on business. And really, when you start to pitch yourself on these calls, like that's the whole point of having a brand, it's like that people will resonate with your brand so that they know if they like you or not. That way you're not wasting your time on those calls to explain to them, well, that's not really how I approach business, if you guys see what I'm saying. So this living in the unknown can cause this overwhelm of anxiety, which can cause us as human beings to act, maybe not in our best interest. And these kids are talking about this on TikTok, or these TikTok kids on Hype House. It's wild to see like how, honestly depressed they look, like you can see how sad they are and how much pressure it's put on them. And that's what I don't want for you guys. Like, you as business owners, yes, the numbers somewhat matter, but the only number that matters is the one in your bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like, the number on Instagram really does not matter to you guys, because if you're making money off of the platform, then you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really doesn't need to hold that much of a weight. And for them, it does, like that's how they make their money. It's like influencers, very similar. And that's why they have to really manage their mental health, because they have to realize that they are so much more than those numbers. And in the grand scheme of life, those numbers really do not mean jack shit. They don't mean anything. They have no actual, like weight over them. It doesn't make them better people. If they create viral content, it doesn't make them funnier. It just makes them regular people that happen to have a concept that resonated with a lot of other people. And that's what I want you guys to think about, is shift out of this like, I need to get this many likes, I need to get this many shares, I need to get this many saves. And yes, that's what I teach in my business Instagram training course, so that you know how to monitor those numbers so you can continue to grow and get better. But on the flip side, we're also offering this mental health program within the training on how I manage my own mental health with social media, how I've seen others do that. And I plan to incorporate a few of the people in my community that are so amazing at helping you stay grounded in what's really important to you. And let me tell you guys, like, yes, I love Instagram for the reason that I can connect with you all, like, and see your faces and comment back on your photos and read your comments on my page and connect with one another and see inside your life. Like, I actually really enjoy that side of it. But this unknown of like, what post is going to be the best? How am I going to reach these numbers? That is such BS. And I want you guys to push that aside and be able to take your emotions out of this, because when you can strategically look at the numbers and say, okay, what stats actually matter to me, which you guys know for me is very highly ranked as website clicks, because that's what's converting for you. That's the people that are going to your application to try and work with you, right? Those are the leads that you're getting. And it's not so much about those, even shares, likes, sends, saves, like that helps us create valuable content. And that's the goal of all of my clients, is to create valuable content for their followers, not because they want to be Instagram influencers, not because they want to get higher numbers, because they like to be of value and operate in that integrity for their client, so that they can start to work with those clients in the future when the client is ready and they already have a lot of the answers to their questions. It's really not about getting to the 10K, you know? Of course, the 10K opens up all these features. A lot of my coaches talk about that. And, you know, it's good to stay humbled, I think, and learn from other people. But what I always get back to, like if I'm feeling overwhelmed by all of this, like, you know, coaching and content and advice and yada yada and the unknown, and it's all weighing so heavy on me, I do my bubble and I get back in my bubble and I think about, I don't know if you guys have seen, this is like a show episode today. WandaVision. Have you guys ever seen that show? Sean and I watched it like a few months back. Obsessed. Honestly, Wanda's like amazing. She's like the most powerful superhero in the show, like in the video, like out of all the other people. She's the Scarlet Witch and she's like awesome. And she's super strong. So I remember like her and how she has her little like force fields. That's what I imagine around myself when I'm feeling like that. And I just do a quick check-in. Like you can do this at any time, anywhere. Quick check-in, drop back into my body, you know, because a lot of the times we're up here, we're out of it, we're not thinking, we're not in touch with our mind and body. Drop back into my body, do my sphere, get myself connected with my energy, and ask myself, is this really important to me or is this important to them? And what is important to me right now? And what do I want out of life? Not what everyone else wants out of life. You know, I just had a great conversation earlier this week. I know this episode's getting long, so I'm going to let you guys go after this. It was so amazing. And we're eventually going to have this client that I was talking with on our episode, on our podcast. We might do a series. She has a podcast. I will be talking about it all the time when they eventually launch because it's all about self-care, which you guys know we're all about here in this community. And they actually do mentorship programs for business owners in their specific niche. And I was chatting with she and her husband, and they were talking to me about coaching, and they approach coaching in this exact same sense. You give everybody all of the options, and then you help them find the right option for them. It's not about somebody giving you the answers. It's about them asking you the right questions for you. That's the type of coach that you want. You don't want the coach that's going to tell you, follow this protocol. No. And that's exactly what we're not doing in our business Instagram training. We're going to tell you all of the options. We're going to tell you how this method works. We're going to tell you how this method works. We're going to tell you why this method is probably not a good idea for anyone. And we're going to tell you why this method has been repeatedly great for a lot of business owners, right? And then you get to take that knowledge. You get to decide what's going to work for you in your business because everybody's business is different. And then that's the step that you take moving forward. And you can do a lot of, self-care practices in between to make sure that you're getting clear on what that means. That's exactly what my clients and I were talking about this week. And I just had to share that last little nugget with you guys. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. Happy Wednesday. Please do me a solid and leave us a review. Even if you've left a review before, we are at a freaking plateau with these reviews. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. You are all amazing. You are the reason why I have my business. You are the reason why we have this podcast. And I truthfully do want to hear from you. I go through and look at the reviews all of the time. I read back through them. They mean the world to me. And my editor, Matt, who is the owner of We Know Podcasting, it just means so much to us. So if you guys have 30 seconds, please leave us a little review. We are going to be doing a giveaway coming up in these next few months. And we're still doing our mom and pop coffee shop gift card because nobody has left a review since then. So if you want that gift card, get that review in and you will be the winner. Okay? So I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And I will see you all next week for our next episode. Thank you so much for listening to The End in Mind. I would like to remind you all, if you haven't yet reached out to me on Instagram, we are at Meraki_media_management. It will be in our show notes as well. If you would like to reach out to me, we always offer free coaching through Instagram based around our Instagram training and our business Instagram practices. If you need any type of support, please do not hesitate to reach out to me there. And we also offer several different types of consulting and training packages if you're looking for a little bit more in-depth tips. So thank you all for listening in. And of course, I want you all to keep the end in mind as you continue with your day and or work week. Have a great week, and I will see you all next time.